Hi there, and in this video I am going to go through some exercises and stretches that we can do using this foam roller. So I have the longer length foam roller, which I personally find a lot more useful because you can just do a lot more with it, but some of you may have a short one, so most of these exercises will be doable with the short one as well. But if you haven't got one and you're looking to get one, I recommend getting this full length one. This one was from Decathlon, I think it was £20, but you can also order online. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start down on our back with our feet resting on the foam roller, working into the pelvic tilt and then coming up into the full bridge. This is really good for working into your hamstrings. So if you start with the feet resting on the foam roller, about hip width apart. And before we start lifting the hips, we're just going to do this pelvic tilt. Okay, so breathing out and tilt the pelvis back. So you're pressing your feet down into the floor. You might feel the hamstrings already starting to fire up and your lower back presses down into the floor. And then tilt the pelvis forwards. You should feel the feet becoming lighter on the roller and your glutes, your bum pressing harder down into the floor and a little curve and arching of the lower part of your spine. Okay, so breathe out, press into your feet, lower back into the floor and breathe in, light feet, heavy glutes. Good, a couple more. Breathe out, tilt back, breathe in, tilt forwards. Breathe out, tilt back. Breathe in, tilt forwards. Good, now we're going to go into full shoulder bridge where we lift the hips up off the floor as well. Okay, so breathe in, prepare. And then on your out breath, tilt the pelvis back and start to roll your spine up off the floor, lifting the hips up, feel the hamstrings working and squeeze into your glutes. Then lower back down on your out breath again. Breathe in, tilt pelvis slightly forwards. Now you might need to play around with where you have your feet, and feel free to move on the roller. Breathe out, lift, hold, breathe in. And then breathe out, lower down. So hopefully you can feel the intensity increases into this exercise when you use the foam roller. And we're really strengthening the muscles down the backs of the thighs into your hamstrings. Good, now if you're finding that you're spasming or cramping at all, just ease off. Good, we'll do 3 more of these, so nice and slow, controlled, hold, breathe in at the top, and then breathe out again, lower your spine. 2 more, breathe out, lift, squeeze and hold, and then breathe out, lower. Good. And last one, lift. There's lots of squeaks coming from my foam roller now. Down, try to get that lower back in, so you're lowering down with the pelvis tilted slightly back and then tilt and release. Good. Okay, so from here, roll yourself up into a kneeling position. We're going to stretch out the hamstrings a bit now and the hip flexors. So if you start with your right knee resting on the foam roller and then bring your left foot around onto the floor. Now keep your hands on this left knee, or you might want to bring them down onto the floor and sort of get your left leg far enough forwards, your right leg far enough back that you can sort of press down and feel a really nice stretch in the hip flexor on the right hand side. Now you can intensify it slightly by lifting the arms up as well, either side of the ears. But if that pushes you off balance, just bring the hands down to rest on your left thigh. Now the toes of your right foot are pressing onto the floor as well. Just keep pressing the hips down and enjoying that nice stretch. The knee on the left side needs to stay behind the toes, so try and get it nicely lined up over your ankle. Good. Okay, then we're going to go into the hamstring. So if you can bring your hands down onto the floor, either side of that left leg, and just push back then. So you're going to flex the foot on your left side, so pulling the toes in towards the shins, and try and straighten that leg. So you can now feel a good stretch into the back of that left side. And just hold it again. Good. Now you can do this just on the floor without your foam roller, but the foam roller just adds a little bit to it. A little bit of more intensity into these stretches. Good, and then we're going to just try and move through these more with our breath, okay? So breathe out, bend that knee, get into your hip flexor. Breathe in as you're in the transition, bringing your hands to the floor. And then breathe out, push back into your hamstring stretch. Good, breathe in, come back to the transition. Breathe out, hands to the thigh, press down or arms up, press hips down. Breathe into the transition. Breathe out into your hamstring stretch. Pulling the feet forwards, or the feet backward, or foot backwards, and straightening the leg. Good, breathe into the transition, last time, breathe out into your hip flexor stretch. Breathe in, and then breathe out back into your hamstring stretch. Brilliant. Okay, now we'll do those on the other side. So bring your left knee down onto your foam roller. Bring your right foot forwards. Get into the right position. Feel steady and supported by that back leg. Then come up, hands to the right thigh. And just start to sink those hips down until you feel the stretch. And just hold it here. Now check in with the knee. Get it nicely above the ankle and behind the toes. If you want to, you can release the arms, stretch the arms up either side of the ears. Or if you feel better here, that's fine as well. And just keep sinking those hips down, getting a lovely stretch. Good, a couple more breaths. Okay, good. Now, hands come down onto the floor, other side of that right leg. And then push back. Lift the toes, pulling the toes back in towards the shin. And try and straighten out that right leg. Feeling the stretch in the hamstring. Good. Really nice to do this after those shoulder bridges. Good, a couple more breaths. Lovely. Okay, now we're going to go into more fluid movement. So breathe in, and then when you're ready, breathe out, hands up to the thigh and press the hips down. Good, breathe in into your transition position, and then breathe out, lift the toes, straighten your leg. Good, breathe in, coming slightly forwards, breathe out, lifting the hands, pressing the hips down. Breathe in, in the transition. Breathe out, hamstring stretch. Breathe in. Last one on each exercise or each stretch. Breathe out, push the hips down. Breathe in, transition. And breathe out, press back. Lovely. Okay, now another area that the foam roller is really good for stretching out is your glutes and the piriformis, which can sometimes lead to sciatic sort of pain in your lower back or down the back of your leg. So what you want to do is sit up sort of on the side of your, or the back of your left glute, your left bum cheek, and then round to the sort of outside of your left glute area, okay? Now we're going to stretch that left leg out and bring your right leg in front, so we're supporting ourselves with this right foot, okay? And your left hand is still on the floor as well. And we just roll backwards and forwards. Now if you feel anywhere that really nips, just rest on it and kind of pulse backwards and forwards, just to help get the blood flow into that part of the muscle. Good. Lovely. Just rolling backwards and forwards. You'll know where you need to rest. Okay, and then bring this right foot behind, so you're getting more sort of lying back, getting into the center part of the glute, gluteus maximus, and just roll backwards and forwards. It can be very sore, this, I am aware of that, so just go easy, especially if it's the first time that you've ever done it. And you might want to, you know, even roll up into, coming up into the lower back slightly if you can bear it. Good. Last couple, and then we'll swap to the other side. So you can see my left leg now is bending slightly. So don't worry too much, it's just about which part of your glutes are touching the roller. Don't worry too much about the legs. Okay, now we'll do the other side. So we're concentrating on the right glutes now. So we kind of start around the outside here. So sit onto your roller, straighten out the right leg, bring your left leg over in front, so you're kind of forcing yourself over onto the outside of the right glute area, and just roll backwards and forwards. Find your wee sweet spot, there's mine, and just roll sort of about an inch forwards and backwards. Good, and then increase it a wee bit. See if there's anywhere else that needs a bit more attention. You could spend a long time doing this. The longer the better, really, you know, so you could do this just while you're sitting watching TV of an evening, if you want. Okay, now let's get more into the center, so rolling more onto your back, but still focusing on the right side of your glutes, your right bum cheek, but more in the center of it. Find your sweet spot. Pulse backwards and forwards. Good. Last couple of rolls. That's it. Good. So yeah, if you're finding there's lots of tender spots there, then it is maybe worth doing that for a wee bit longer. Now we're going to go into a kind of side stretch out now. So if you sit with your legs pointing out to one side, and your foam roller out to the other side. Now what we're going to do is just roll forwards, so we're in a nice side bend, and then twist over, so we're bringing that top arm down onto the floor as well, and then see if you can roll a little further. And you will feel this a lovely stretch all down under the arm and down the outside of your body. Okay, and then come back up. So we do this kind of with our breath. So breathe in, prepare, and then breathe out, come forwards into your roll and your stretch. Good. Then come round again, breathing in and hold for an out breath, trying to stretch a bit more. Good. Breathe in, come back up. Breathe out. And twist around. Breath in and then breathe out. Roll further forwards. Good, we'll do 2 more, so we're doing 5 on each side. Okay, so you kind of push the roller away from you to wherever your body can handle. Good, and come back up. And last one. And breathe out, stretch further forwards. Oh, good. So right down the outside, you should feel that. Then we'll swap over, do that on the other side. So legs pointing out the other way. Okay, now breathe in. And on your out breath, roll away, arm comes up and over. And then reach forwards, bringing that upper arm to the roller as well. And stretch further forwards. Good, breathe in. Breathe out. And forwards and press. Good. 3 more. Breathe out, reach up and over. Then reach around. Press and roll. Good. 2 more. Breathe out. And then round and forwards, didn't have it far enough away there. Good. Last one. Brilliant. Good, and again you can do more of those if they feel really good for you. This is kind of just a little introduction into some of these. The last one we're going to do is a back extension. So if you bring yourself down onto your tummy and have the roller out in front. And you're going to rest kind of your forearms just slightly further, just slightly forwards from your elbows. Rest them onto the roller. Okay? Now when you're ready, just start to lift your head and your chest and roll the arms back. So you're coming up into a nice back extension. And then lower your body back down. Good, and again. Breathe out, lift, core contracts back. And lower. And you're really pressing hard down onto that roller. Now, you might feel that you can really lift up and lift the hips and pelvis up off the floor as well. And by all means do. But similarly, if just coming up this far is enough, then you do what works for you. You find wherever your body feels best. So I'm showing you all the different levels here. Good, and try not to look up with your head. You just want to keep your gaze forwards onto the roller, really. Okay, last couple. Last one. Brilliant. And then bring your hands down so you can push yourself up and back. And we're just going to finish with a little sort of shoulder stretch by coming back into your shell stretch. You open your knees so you have room to stretch forwards. And if you keep the arms, the hands resting on your roller, you'll feel a really nice sort of shoulder stretch here with this. You can stretch the fingertips away or push the roller away. Good. And then just relax the shoulders for a couple of breaths, just bringing your arms down either side of your body. Breathe for a couple of breaths. Good. And that's it for this video. Just a little introduction to some nice foam roller exercises and stretches. So I hope you find them useful, and any questions, just give me a shout. I'll see you on another video again soon, I hope.